Hello and welcome. Tonight, results from Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections trickle in from all over the country. Governors Dakpo Abiodun, Seyi Makinde, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak and Mai Mala Buni win re-election in their states to secure second terms in office. Civil society organizations say the governorship and state assembly elections were characterized by low voter turnout, violence and intimidation. And Labour Party raises alarm over alleged plans to manipulate the governorship election results from Abia and Enugu states, threaten nationwide protests to drive home its point. A day after Nigerians went to the polls to elect governors and House of Assembly members in 28 states in the 993 state constituencies across the country, some of the results are already trickling in. So far, some state governors have won re-election in their states. In this category, we have the likes of Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of Kwara State, Muhammadu Inuayaya of Gombe State, and Mai Mala Buni of Yobe. We also have some first-time members, and these include Umar Basi Eno of Akwa Ibom State, Umar Namadi of Jigawa State, and Diko Rada of Katsina State. Now, the House of Assembly elections also presented some interesting results, including the emergence of 26-year-old female activist Rukayat Shitu in Kwara State. Well, let's now look at some of these results, or how some of these results were announced, starting with Oyo State in the southwest, where Governor Seyi Makinde has dedicated his victory to God and the residents of the state for giving him a second chance at serving as their governor. Well, Governor Makinde, who was flanked by his wife, cabinet members and party members, received the final announcement of his victory with shouts of joy amidst celebration with friends and associates.
The mood in the private sitting room of Governor Seyi Makinde just before the final announcement of the governorship election by INEC.
Makinde Oluseyi Abiodun, male, PDP, had 563,756 votes. Candidate number 15, Lana Michael, male, of SDP, had 2,834 votes. Candidate number 16, Uba Aduragbemi, female, of YPP, had 493 votes. That's Makinde Oluseyi Abiodun of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
And the much anticipated news filters in. Governor Makinde is re-elected, having won 31 out of 33 local government areas in the state. The joy in the room is infectious as the governor and his family and friends celebrate. Governor Makinde polled over 500,000 votes to defeat his closest rival, Teslim Folari of the All Progressives Congress, who scored over 200,000 votes. Adebayo Adelabu of Accord Party came a distant third with 38,000 votes, a victory he dedicates to God and his people.
I guess right now I'm just overwhelmed. I want to thank the good people of Oyo State for the confidence they reposed in this administration and in my ability to lead. The reward for hard work is more work. So for this second tenure, we will even work harder for the people of Oyo State, more than we did in the first tenor. So, like I said on the campaign trail, Omituntu 2.0 is a film that will be a lot better, sweeter, and more effective when compared to Omituntu 1.0. So I just want to say thank you to my leaders, to my elders, to our supporters. You've done really well. This victory is dedicated to God and to the good people of Oyo State.
The celebration continues across the state as different groups supporting the PDP and the man chosen to lead them over the next 4 years troop to his residence to join in the celebration.
In neighboring Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun has been declared winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state. The governor polled 276,298 to defeat the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Ladi Adebutu, who scored 262,383 votes. According to the state returning officer, Professor Kayode Adeboale, the governor was declared winner, having satisfied the requirements of the law.
Abiodun Adedapo Oluseun, APC 276,298, 276,298. Adebutu Oladikupo Olatunde, PDP 262,383, 262,383. Johnson Cyprus Oluwaseun, PRP 248, 248. Odeshina Anthony Olawumi SDP 515, 515.
And in a swift reaction, Governor Dapo Abiodun has assured residents of the state of good governance hinged on transparency, equity, and fairness. He made the promise during a praise worship held at the Presidential Lodge for his re-election victory in the state capital. While attributing his victory to God, he, however, thanks the residents and other critical stakeholders and promised not to let them down in the trust and confidence reposed in him.
On behalf of myself, my wife, my family, my deputy governor, I want to thank the Almighty God again for not putting us to shame, for not allowing us to be disgraced. I want to thank all of you, but I want to thank particularly our great party, the APC, for providing me with this platform to stand up. I consider it an absolute privilege.
Meanwhile, the Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party is asking the Independent National Electoral Commission to declare the results of the governorship election in the state as inconclusive. This was contained in a petition signed by the secretary of the party in the state, Sunday Sholari, and addressed to the national chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. The party alleged deliberate and orchestrated violence allegedly unleashed on eligible voters in order to disenfranchise them, which the party says is a reflection of cancellation of votes in many areas of the state. The party is now calling for the invocation of the principle of margin of lead as established by the Commission in Section 24.3 in effect, affected by the inability of the population greater than the reflected lead between the resumed winner of the election and the runner-up. And the party is therefore asking the Commission to declare the election as inconclusive. And still from Ogun State, the governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Mr. Olubi Otegbe, has condemned the rigging and violence that characterized the election held on Saturday, March the 18th. Mr. Otegbe gave his position while speaking with Channels Television in Abeokuta, the state capital, on the final outcome of the governorship election. According to the ADC governorship candidates, there were reports of violence and irregularities which may affect the outcome of the election in some parts of the state.
It is sad that we still have things like this. Before the election, we raised alarms because we have learned, we have heard that the government, as it is, they are hell-bent on rigging the election and using brutal violence and force against the citizen. Yes, after the election, we had so many infraction reports from Ijebu, Ijebu, Ogun Waterside, Shagamu, Remo, and they are very, very serious. We have cases of vandalized ballot boxes. We have cases of massive thumb printing in Imekwafo. So yeah, so many irregularities, but petitions have been written on them, and to the extent that they are material and they may affect the outcome, I'm sure the INEC will look into this. Don't forget that within a very short time, we had to run a very gruesome campaign across the state, having been tied down by litigations. All the supporters, I want to urge them to accept this and to continue to have faith and trust in our party as we look into the next line of action for the future.
In part two, after the break, Independent National Electoral Commission says the commission is still collating the figures of its abducted staff, while some have been released. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Results from Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections trickle in from all over the country. Governors Dakwa Abiodun, Seyi Makinde, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak and Maimala Boni win re-election in their states to secure second terms in office. Civil society organizations say the governorship and state assembly elections were characterized by low voter turnout, violence and intimidation. And Labour Party raises alarm over alleged plans to manipulate the governorship election results from Abia and Enugu states, even as they threaten nationwide protest to drive home its point. In the South-South region, Pastor Umaino of the People's Democratic Party has been declared winner of the March 18 governorship poll in Akwa Ibom State. Now, the returning officer for the election, Professor Emmanuel Adigio, made the declaration at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Uyo, the state capital.
I, Professor Emmanuel M. Adigio, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2023 Akwa Ibom State governorship election held on the 18th day of March 2023. That Eno Umo Basi of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Signed, returning officer.
In Kwara State, the Independent National Electoral Commission returning officer for the Governorship and State Assembly election, Professor Hakeem Ijaya, has declared a 26-year-old former female student union activist at the National Open University of Nigeria, Rukayat Shitu, as the winner of the Kwara State House of Assembly election. In the results announced by INEC, Ms. Rukayat Shitu, who contested on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, polled 7,521 votes to beat her rival from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abdullahi Magaji, who scored 6,957 votes in the House of Assembly election on Saturday. Ms. Shitu will represent Owode Oniri constituency in Asha local government area of Kwara State House of Assembly for the next 4 years. With results from the governorship and assembly elections trickling in from across the states, Labour Party has raised an alarm over what it describes as an attempt to upturn the governorship results in Abia and Enugu states. In a statement by the party's national chairman, Mr. Julius Abure, the party accuses the Abia state governor of being involved in an attempt to upturn the victory of the Labour Party candidate, Alex Otti. The statement goes on to say that INEC staff are held hostage at Obingwa local government by Governor Okezie Ikpeazu and his cohorts to rewrite the results already compiled by INEC officials, despite the order from the election body asking their staff to head to Umuahia to collate results for the election. The party is therefore calling on the Inspector General of Police to intervene and ensure the transfer of all electoral materials to Umuahia, where the sanctity of the election and safety of the officials in charge can be guaranteed. According to the Labour Party chairman, the same scenario is playing out in Enugu State, where the Labour Party's candidate Chijioke Edoga is allegedly leading in virtually all the local governments so far announced. The party says it has endured what no other political party in the country has endured in the last few weeks because it believes in due process and has therefore resolved that it, inasmuch as it remains a law-abiding political party, it will henceforth resist rigging and will move to the streets to reclaim its stolen mandates. Voting has ended in all 10 polling units in the VGC estate in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. Well, the INEC officials brought the process to an end with the counting and announcement of results at about 6 p.m. Now, the process started at about 8:30 in the morning with a low voter turnout, although the turnout improved considerably later on in the day. It was nowhere near the crowd that it was witnessed yesterday before the polls were rescheduled. Our correspondent Shola Shoele, who has been monitoring the polls, now reports.
Saturday, March the 18th, the residents of the Victoria Garden City VGC had refused to vote after INEC relocated their polling units from the VGC park. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Segun Agbaje, who was at the estate on Saturday to assess the situation, had to reschedule the elections to 8:30 a.m. on Sunday, March 19th. The elections began on time, with the INEC officials arriving early to set up and commence the process. A total of 10 polling units are up for grabs here, 8 of them on the VGC park, and the remaining 2 located near the VGC gates. Over 5,000 voters have also been accredited to vote here.
So I got here this morning very early, before 6 a.m. We're already set up again, waiting for them. Before 8, they were here. And as you can see, the process so far has been peaceful, it's been free, it's been fair. The truth is, Nigeria can be great, but it depends on you and I.
From INEC's records, polling units 032 and 033 have the longest crowd with over 1,000 registered voters each. The governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress ADC in Lagos, Funsho Doherty, and a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, are 2 of the voters in polling unit 032.
Where the INEC shadow staff
After voting, they share their views on the process of elections.
You know, I am so glad that this has happened today. We have voted. Like I have said to many who have asked, it's not about the outcome, it's about the process. The process must be made and must be seen to work. That's what inspires confidence in the populace that our systems work.
with dialogue, and with people insisting on their civic engagement and their rights to pursue things in what they understood to be the correct formal way, and also with the flexibility of INEC to accommodate that dialogue and to come today, I think that we really can't complain. We have the opportunity to vote. It's just that some people may feel so disappointed that they don't come out.
Crisis erupted in polling unit 033 when some party agents tried to disrupt the voting process. Police officers on ground were, however, able to arrest the situation.
A good number of policemen surrounded the ballot box, stopped them from destroying the integrity of our votes. They surrounded the voters that were queuing and stopped them from scattering the queue. It was our biggest polling unit in VGC, and they defended the polling unit, they defended the ballot box, they defended the people.
Voting was concluded at about 6 p.m. with the announcement of results from polling unit 033.
Now, a number of results have also been announced from some northern states. We'll look at some of these results in our next report.
The candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Malam Namadi Alhaji of Jigawa State, has won the 2023 governorship election.
The returning officer
announcing the results, the state returning officer, Professor Zayanu Umar of the Federal University Birnin Kebbi, stated that the All Progressives Congress candidate won the election with 618,449 votes, whereas the PDP candidate, Mustafa Lamido, scored 368,726 votes.
Namadi Umar Alhaji of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
In Kwara State, INEC's declaration that the incumbent governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak was the winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state was met with reactions.
I want to thank Almighty God for making this election a peaceful one, the one where Kwarans have been able to speak the preference of whom they want.
We have seen the results being presented today. We have taken note of the results. So we'll go back and look at those results and examine it against what our agents have collated, and we'll take it from there.
The returning officer, Professor Isaac Itodo, the Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, who certified the results of the governorship and House of Assembly elections in the state, declared Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak winner of the poll with a score of 273,442 votes, and the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Abdullahi Yaman, scored 155,490 votes. The incumbent governor of Gombe State, Inuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress, has been declared as the winner of the governorship elections. The returning officer for the Gombe State governorship election, Professor Maimuna Waziri, said Inuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress scored 342,821 votes to beat 13 other candidates who contested in the election. The runner-up is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Muhammad Barde, who scored 233,131 votes. The candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Kamisu Melantarki, came third with 19,861 votes, while the Labour Party candidate, Keftin Amuga, came fourth with 1,753 votes. Meanwhile, the incumbent governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni, has been declared as the winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state. Announcing the result at the INEC headquarters in Damaturu, the state capital, the state returning officer, Professor Umar Bate, revealed Mai Mala Buni of the All Progressives Congress scored 317,113 votes to defeat his closest rival, Sheriff Abdullahi of the PDP, who scored 104,259 votes. Mai Mala Buni is returning as the governor of the state for the second time under the platform of the All Progressives Congress.
Our next chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, says the electoral umpire could not remobilize to areas where voting was disrupted and election materials destroyed. However, he is assuring Nigerians that INEC is keeping its eyes on these areas where voting was disrupted and will not hesitate to remobilize where the outcome of the election is affected. While speaking to journalists in Abuja, Mr. Okoye says there were difficult and unforeseen circumstances outside the Commission's control which affected the elections and not only affected citizens but also impacted on the Commission's officials and processes.
Collation of governorship and state houses of assembly election results are ongoing across the country. Nevertheless, the electoral umpire INEC has assembled journalists to brief them on issues which were observed in the just concluded elections.
Open on schedule, and citizens were attended to promptly.
Elections in some parts of the country, notably Lagos, Kano, Rivers and Imo states, were marred by violence, intimidation of voters, abduction of INEC personnel and vote buying. However, INEC's chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, says the commission is well aware of these challenges and its effect on the exercise.
Some of our staff were abducted, some were harassed, some were intimidated, some were hospitalized, and in one case killed. Now, if during the conduct of an election has been disrupted in certain places, in some instances, the law and our regulation says that if our processes and our procedures are disrupted, or if there's resistance to the use of the beavers, that we can give 0-0 to that particular polling unit and take it that everybody in that particular polling unit has voted. In some instances, if elections are cancelled in some polling units, and then during the process of collation, we look at the margin of lead, and we believe that the margin of lead, or the collation and returning officer believes that the margin of lead will affect the outcome of the election, we can go back and conduct a supplementary election in those places. So some of the...
Ms. Okoye also touches on the reconfiguration of the bimodal voter accreditation system as it relates to the data from the presidential and National Assembly elections.
So we don't have any data as of today remaining in the beavers. Every data has been pushed to the accreditation back end, and political parties and candidates have been applying for this particular data, and the commission has been making the accreditation data available to all those who are interested.
INEC says that it improved on its processes during the governorship and state houses of assembly elections compared with the presidential elections, which was marred by logistics challenges and the failure of the commission to upload election results in real time. It, however, says it will review its processes after the elections are concluded to ensure that the glitches experienced during the presidential and National Assembly elections do not reoccur. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Channels TV data analyst Babajide Ogunsoro reveals some of the results that have so far been released from the governorship and state assembly elections. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Civil society organizations have been speaking on their observation and situation room report findings about the conduct of the governorship and state houses of assembly elections. At different briefings in Abuja, members of the civil society organizations claimed that the elections were characterized by low-level voter turnout, violence, and even intimidation. The civil society organizations, however, commend INEC for the early arrival of election materials and voting. It's a gathering of civil society organizations monitoring the governorship and state houses of assembly elections as they present their findings on the conduct of the state elections. Their observation include low turnout of Nigerians due to political thuggery and violence in some locations despite the early arrival of electoral materials.
Situation Room observed the prevalence of vote buying across the country. This was seen in Anambra State, in Yobe, in Enugu, and Edo states. Items were given in exchange for, votes, like food items and wrappers and money as well. Amounts given were like from 500 to 5,000 in cash transfer or promissory notes.
Incidents of voter intimidation and harassment were also recorded in some polling units in Kano and Lagos states. Yaga Africa hopes INEC and security agencies will take prompt actions to inspire public confidence in the credibility of the election.
Away from civil society organizations, the National Human Rights Commission is advocating the need for the police to investigate cases of violence in polling units with the aim of identifying and arresting the sponsors.
With regards to citizens, the turnout was quite low, when taken to perspective. And this is a concern for us because looking at the presidential election, there was that enthusiasm, there was that, passion, people were out, to vote and protected their vote. Imagine a situation where people were on queue from morning to the following morning.
Rivers State had the lowest, in the governorship election, 9%. Imagine 1 out of 10 persons that registered came out to vote. Do you know the implication of that? So that means 9 people either gave up their right to vote or were prevented from voting.
As the civil society organizations await the final result of the election from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the National Human Rights Commission says it's optimistic that perpetrators of violence will be dealt with in accordance with the nation's laws. Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has officially declared some of the governorship election results. Well, some familiar faces, some new, and some familiar trends, and some new as well. Well, to share insight about the governorship election results is the founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogusawo. It's great to have you on the News at 10, Babajide.
It's been a busy day.
Yes, indeed, it's been a busy day. But let's quickly start by looking at the elections, of course, which has now come and gone. Well, let's leave it at that. But how similar or different has this election been compared with that of the presidential? So, take it away.
So it depends on how we look at this. I'd like to start with the words of famous British philosopher and mathematician Bernard Russell, who said that democracy is the process where people choose who will get the blame. And so we've seen people make their choice on who will get the blame for whatever happens. But what we have seen is this election is a proof of two things. First is it's a proof that we are divided. It's also a proof that we are united. What do I mean by it's a proof that we are divided? If you look at the presidential election, the results showed that people voted along ethnicity, religion, and familiarity. And so the candidate of the PDP, Atiku, won the Northeast. He won all the states in the Northeast, apart from Borno. So he had the majority of votes in the Northeast. If you look at the Southeast, the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, won all the 5 states in the Southeast. He had the majority of votes in the Southeast, the region where he's from. And if you look at the Southwest, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu won the majority of the votes in the Southwest, losing only Lagos and then losing in Osun. So this presidential election, proof of our division. The governorship election, proof of our unity. In other words, states that voted presidential, APC, PDP, voted another way in this election. In the governorship. So going into this election, we had 28 states, 17 of those states, controlled by the APC. 11 of those states controlled by the PDP. And even though we've seen some of the results, what we see is that how we started the morning is how we're about to end the night. PDP still has its 11 states. The APC still has its 17 states. So the results will clearly show, will these numbers stay the same or will they change? If we're to go by history, our history shows that the numbers never stay the same. In 2015, when the elections happened, the governorship elections happened across these 28 states in 2015, the APC won 20, the PDP won 8. In 2019, 4 years ago, when these governorship elections happened across these 28 states, the APC won 15, the PDP 13. Now we go into this election with 17, 11 for the APC and PDP. Will it stay the same or will it change?
All right, interesting. Well, of course, like you said, we've not really had all the results declared for the governorship elections, but let's see, are there any upsets or surprises from what we have so far?
We see a process that is ongoing. We see possibilities of upsets, but those states have not been officially declared. What we need to focus on are the 15 states the APC won, and the 14 states, the 13 states the PDP won. But let's look at the 15 states that the APC won 4 years ago to find out which states have been declared and which states are we still expecting. In Borno State, in 2019, Borno State governorship election had the biggest margin of lead for the APC. Professor Babagana Zulum won with a margin of 1.1 million votes. He's up for re-election. Will he get the same numbers? Will it be more than this? We still don't know. We're expecting results from Borno State. In Katsina, I believe we have the results from Katsina. But again, no major surprises in Katsina. Won by the APC 4 years ago. Margin of lead 690,000. The governor, first-time governor around, because you know Katsina is one of those states in the northwest where we are guaranteed to have a new governor. So we have a new face in Katsina State. We're expecting a new face in Kebbi because the governor is on his way out. But we know that this time, 4 years ago, Kebbi State, 567,000 margin of lead when the APC won in Kebbi State 4 years ago. We're expecting a new face in Kebbi. And Lagos, we believe that we have that last local government, that last polling unit from VGC, which is in Etiosa. We're expecting the final results from Lagos, but based on preliminary results we've gotten from Lagos, we've seen that the opposition has been able to win one local government, Amu, out of Lagos, out of the 20 local governments in Lagos. Will this number significantly change? Based on the numbers that have been released officially by INEC, it is unlikely that Lagos will flip. Very unlikely. You are more likely to see America supporting Russia than for Lagos to flip based on the results we currently have. Jigawa State is another state in the northwest where we're also guaranteed to have a new governor because the governor is on the second term. APC won that. Yobe, one of the states in the northeast. Yobe in the presidential election went the way of the PDP. I think we have the results from Yobe. And what we've seen from Yobe is, just like it happened 4 years ago, a margin of lead in 4 years ago, 348,000. This time around, APC still winning. Again, like we said, all the states that have been declared right now for the APC controlled before we went into this election. All the states that have been declared for the PDP held on to those states before we went into this election. One key state, Zamfara. And Zamfara is important because Zamfara is the only state in the northwest where we have a sitting governor. All the other states in the northwest region are guaranteed to have first-time governors, apart from Zamfara, who is a sitting governor, who is also on the ballot, Governor Bello Matawale, if the pronunciation is right. Matawale. When this election happened 4 years ago, he won with a margin of 345,000 votes. We are waiting to see if he will still be able to strike this sort of numbers or if there will be a flip. Kaduna. Two things are important about Kaduna. In 2019, the APC won Kaduna. But in 2019 presidential election, not only did the PDP win Ayo, the PDP won all the senatorial districts in Kaduna. So in Kaduna, we have 3 senators currently that are PDP. Will this stay the same? Will the PDP or the APC or any of the other parties that have shown a lot of inroads into Kaduna win it? We are waiting for the confirmation of results in Kaduna. We see Niger and Kwara. 2 states with similarities. One reason why is the Kwara State governor is up for re-election. In Niger State, the governor is on his way out. What happened 4 years ago? Both states went to PDP, went to the APC, but this time around, see that Kwara up for re-election, Niger on his way out in Ogun. That's where the surprise came.
A big surprise.
Big surprise. Look at what happened in Ogun 4 years ago. Candidate Dapo Abiodun, which was the right name to call him, candidate Dapo Abiodun 4 years ago, won in Ogun State. A margin of 171,000 votes. And even though the candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, won in Ogun during the presidential election with a margin of more than 200,000 votes just 3 weeks ago, Governor Abiodun won this time around with less than 17,000 votes. Compare his margin of lead in this election, less than 17,000 to 170,000. One reason why, based on statistics, the National Bureau of Statistics shares some information that there are 3.8 million people living in Ogun State who are classified as poor. So clearly there's a lot of dissatisfaction and unhappiness going around the 20 local governments in Ogun State, and a lot of those local governments voted for Ladi Adebutu
of the PDP.
Nasarawa State, one of the states that the governor is up for re-election, just like Kwara State in North Central. But here's what we know about Nasarawa. In the presidential election in the North Central Ayo, 2 states that went the way of the Labour Party, Plateau and Nasarawa State. Nasarawa State, Governor, APC, in 2019, won margin 142,000 votes. So keep your eyes on Nasarawa, one of those states in the North Central where the Labour Party won. We are waiting to see if that trend will continue.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Probably the Labour Party might make inroads in that one.
Gombe, another state that went for the APC in the governorship election 4 years ago. Gombe went the way of the PDP in the presidential election. One thing we know about Gombe is the Gombe state governor is on this ballot and has come out to say he's up for election, and based on what he wants, he feels that people will vote for him. Plateau, Kano, big. Before we move into the 13 states that the PDP won 4 years ago, look at what happened in Kano 4 years ago. Kano, clearly APC controlling Kano 4 years ago. This time around, 2 senators in Kano from the NNPP, and we see Rabiu Kwankwaso trying to make sure his candidate wins in Kano.
All right, so because we really have to hasten things up, but from what we have so far, I mean, what assurances do we have in terms of the results? How will it impact on the quality of governance in the country?
And that's where we now need to move to, because this is all politics. What people are talking about is governance. Governance is the key. Why is governance important? And that's because Nigeria is too great for small dreams. We expect that these 28 states will have big dreams. Big dreams because of 3 reasons. Number one, we have 20 million people, children that are out of school. These leaders have to get people out of school. We have 40 million Nigerians who are classified as unemployed and underemployed. These leaders, have to get people jobs. Finally, we have 133 million people classified as poor. These leaders have to get the people into prosperity. That is what the election is about. It goes beyond these numbers. It's more about the standard and quality of life. So these governors, what the Nigerian masses are asking for is they want a governor and a half.
All right, definitely we'll be keeping tabs on all of these developments, even as we continue to get more results from the governorship and state assembly elections. Our channel Steve Data Analyst, Babajide Guso, thank you so much for your thoughts.
Keep your eyes on the numbers.
The values of motherhood were extolled by the wife of Vice President Mrs. Dolapo Shibajo at a Mother's Day service, which was held at the Villa Chapel of the State House in Abuja. Mrs. Shibajo, who ended the service with the cutting of the Mother's Day cake alongside all the mothers present at the service, urged mothers across the country to raise their children with love and live lives mindful of those they have been put on this earth to bless.
God is love, and his DNA is love. And so what we are teaching our children is to live the life we love. By this, men know we are his disciples when we have love for one another. And so we have this DNA of God. And this is what we should ensure that our children operate in. On His Excellency's birthday, we went to Maiduguri. And there's a place called the Learning Center where we have over 300 children currently. And they are our children. And we went to visit with them and spend the day with them. There's so many children that the Lord is trusting you to bring up. Trusting you that your lifestyle, your words will encourage them, will build them up in the faith, and will keep their feet firmly planted. So even if you're no longer here, even when you're gone, lessons are still being learned, messages are still being passed from you to others. Just as someone talks about you, or you writes about you, you're still ministering.
The Kano State Police Command has arrested 161 persons for various election-related offences. According to the State Police Commissioner, Mohammed Gumel, the suspects were arrested for offences like ballot box snatching, vote buying, and those who attempted to burn an INEC office in the state. The suspects include Ishaku Danja, a present member of the State House of Assembly. Friends and family have been recounting the lessons from the life of late Senator Franca Fegba, especially her feat in becoming the first democratically elected female senator in Nigeria. Senator Fegba, who was also a fashion and hairdressing expert, won the August 1983 election into the senatorial seat for Bendel North in Nigeria's Second Republic. However, a coup in December of that same year truncated her chances to contribute to national development through the vehicle of lawmaking.
Rocky Okwila, endowed with natural sedimentary rock-based mineral resources, is in Esako East local government area of Edo State and comes under Edo North Senatorial District. About 40 years ago, with other communities which made up what was then known as Bendel North Senatorial District in the old Bendel State, it brought a significant change to Nigeria's politics and made history as the districts gave solid support to a daughter of the land, Franca Fegba, to become Nigeria's first female senator on the platform of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN.
At the time she was contesting for the Senate issue, we were her foot soldiers. I was in secondary school then, and we were very happy when she won that election.
Just make our family, both the father's family, the mother family, to be proud, because most of our children today that are educated, she's one of them who was the pillar of that education.
Senator Fegba mentored many. Among them is Helen Agbaingbe, who was a kind of personal assistant towards the region with her during the campaigns and saw her gain support from women and men alike in the August 1983 election.
It was something that looked like a joke. But when they saw that she was determined, when she won the primary, and when she started knocking doors, she started knocking doors beyond just any NPN people. She was knocking doors at other political parties. Then people started taking her seriously. Then the men started coming in.
Senator Fegba did not go unrecognized for the courage and resilience which spurred her into breaking the glass ceiling for women in politics, as the Edo State government in 2019 celebrated her decades after this feat.
Your exceptional quality saw you winning the competitions in the 70s. And thereafter, you emerged as the first elected black female senator in the whole world.
Her message at the event highlighted the importance of not giving up.
I want to see women going to elected offices. The men may try to do their way, but not that nobody will sit down and come and override the president and get the power. No, everybody will have to struggle for it. You have to struggle for it. If you don't struggle for it, you will not even appreciate what the project does. You have to struggle for it. Go on, if you lose, go again.
Is my sister here, Chief Senator.
Following Senator Fegba's demise on March 12, friends and family remember her as a politician and much more than that.
She really carried everybody along. Yes. She started right from the family.
She was good to both of us as the children, taking care of us in a very disciplinary way, making sure that we are disciplined.
The wife of the governor of Edo State is one of the sympathizers at her house in Benin City.
She's a woman that we're all very proud of. She's an icon, an example, a role model for women, especially women in politics. And we're so proud and so grateful to God that such a woman came out of our state. So Edo people ought to be very proud of her. Nigerians in general ought to be proud of her.
Although gone now, it's evident Senator Fegba leaves memories capable of helping others live their dreams, a desire she's said to have had even when alive. Jessica Luguse, Channels Television News.
President Vladimir Putin has paid a surprise visit to Mariupol, a Ukrainian port captured by Russia after its forces crushed much of the city to ruins. Putin can be seen driving in a car through several districts of the city, making stops and speaking to residents. Putin's visit is the closest he has been to the front line and his first trip to the Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine's Donbas region since the start of the war. Mariupol, which fell to Russia in May after one of the war's longest and bloodiest battles, was Russia's first major victory after it failed to seize Kiev. Manchester United came from a goal down to beat nine-man Fulham and reached the FA Cup semi-finals with a 3-1 victory at Old Trafford. Marco Silva's side looked on course for a place in the semi-final when their world collapsed around a handball incident 15 minutes from time. Bruno Fernandes equalised for the Red Devils from the penalty spot after Willian and Alessandro Mitrovic were sent off for different offences. Marcel Sabitzer scored Man United's second goal, while Fernandes scored again in the dying moments of the game. Well, Nigeria's Kamaru Usman has failed to reclaim his welterweight title, losing a unanimous decision to Britain's Leon Edwards at the UFC 286 early this morning. Both fighters faced each other for the third time in the octagon win. Edwards showing his victory over the Nigerian Nightmare in August was no fluke. Usman has now lost 2 consecutive fights for the first time in his professional career. And the main news again. Results from Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections have continued to trickle in from all over the country. Well, in some of the results so far announced, Governors Dapo Abiodun, Seyi Makinde, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak and Mai Mala Buni have won re-election in their states to secure second terms in office. And civil society organizations today said the governorship and state assembly elections were characterized by low voter turnout, violence and intimidation. And just a quick reminder that we'll be returning to our Verdict 2023 studios in our continued coverage of the governorship and state assembly elections. That's it on the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. Good night.